Welcome to my dream YouTube studio. I couldn't be more excited to finally share with you how I created this minimalist professional YouTube studio with incredible audio, but there's a couple things. How I turned the room from this to what it looks like now. The entire desk setup is actually run off of one single cable for all of those people like me that like to keep the cables managed, but also it is acoustically treated so that the sound is immaculate and you're able to get 7 different recording angles for my YouTube videos, all from this one single space, including this, and this. So I'm gonna walk you through absolutely everything that I did, all of the many mistakes that I did. In case you're looking to create your own YouTube studio, I will walk you through the costly mistakes that I made, and also I will link everything in the description below. And I'll be showing you a couple party tricks within this room that you probably wouldn't be expecting in order to properly control the lighting and the audio and make this as incredible as it could be. So without further ado, let's walk through, starting with the desk, and I'm gonna talk to you about everything that I got, as well as the lighting, the audio, the cameras that I'm using, and everything in case you're looking to create your dream YouTube studio. So first, let's start with the desk, which is gonna be the HQ where I spend the majority of my time, spending time doing endless Zoom calls. And also what you're gonna see is that you can actually record YouTube videos with these screens based on where I can change everything, which is what I'm gonna show you here in a second. But a couple things to be mindful of here. I wanted to make sure that this is super clean. So as you're going to see, this entire setup with a full 4K camera, multiple screens, and my Sherrard SM7B are all run off of one single cable. So we'll get to the cable management after, but I just wanted to also mention everything that I speak about is going to be linked in the description below. If you have questions about anything, drop a comment. I will answer it about any of the material, any of the different things that I use, but also how to get it set up. So the first thing, starting with the desk. This is an ergonomics desk, and one of the things that I love about it is that it's got a touchpad. So it's a standing desk, but you don't have the big clunky buttons like you do with most. This is a touchpad desk, full walnut as the theme throughout the studio. Now, when we come over to the monitors, one of the things I really wanted to do was to be able to easily reposition the monitors so I can create multiple different recording angles from this very simple setup. So everything is on monitor arms, which again, I will link below, because with my previous setup, I had to move screens, I had to physically undo buttons in order to shift them around, and there was cables all over the place. So I've got a Dell Ultra Sharp monitor as my main one. And then one of the things that I love for productivity is I've got the LG dual up monitor. So when I'm typically working on a daily basis, I will have my iMessages, Slack, as well as Shift up here. So all of the different things, or Asana, that I need in order to operate my business, and then the tasks that I'm actually working on right here. Now, coming over to the next part of this is going to be the camera that I use for my Zoom setup, which is a Sony a7S III. One of the things that you'll be able to see here, and I'll walk over and show you, is that you can easily push any of these down. So when I'm recording Zoom, I simply just shift this down, and then my camera's perfectly into place. Now, talking about some of the mistakes that I made, one of the things you'll notice is that this is on a Visa mount. So I had to buy a separate Visa mount for this. But what I realized as I was getting this set up is that if you're just using it on the Visa mount, you could not actually angle the camera. So it was always pointing in some quirky, awkward direction. So I had to get this little Neewer adapter in order to make sure that I can position it properly. But one of the other things that I love about this, if we move this sideways, is if I want to actually record YouTube videos, I can swing this screen completely out of frame. And now what I can do is actually move this down into position. And now what you're gonna be able to see is that I can have this at direct head height, no monitors in the way, and I'm able to record YouTube videos with some of the different backgrounds that I have just by repositioning some of these things. So that, again, the whole premises and concept behind this studio was to make things as easy and efficient as possible. Now, coming over to the audio, what you'll see here is that I've got a Shure SM7B with the Rode camera arm. but this is my dream setup that I wanted here, which is the Apollo Twin X. So one of the things that I didn't like about the Shure SM7B that many people have to use is a cloud lifter in order to boost the gain and get everything you need out of this incredible mic. However, as you're gonna see with the cable management under, I didn't want to have to use a cloud lifter for this mic. I just wanted it direct. So as you're gonna see here with the Apollo Twin X, I'm able to get that out of it. And just with this dial, I'm able to adjust everything that I need in order to get super clean sound out of this mic. Now, let's talk about a couple of the other things here. As you can see here, this entire thing is run off of my new MacBook Pro, the matte black one, with a charger, and then you've got the Cal Digit. So this is how I'm able to run everything off of one cable, as well as a ninja trick that I'm gonna show you under the desk. The Cal Digit TS4. This is incredible because, as you're gonna know, or as you would assume, this has a cable, that has a cable, this has a cable with multiple, all of these things have cables, and I didn't want this running rampant all throughout my studio. Whereas with this, which all that I did to mount it under the table, or under the desk rather, is command strips. And that's kind of a theme. I didn't want to do drilling. I'm not a handy guy. So all that I use to mount the majority of this stuff are just simple command strips. Now, coming over here, I've got a Stream Deck as well. But the last kind of component, the two components of this, is this chair. So I sit a lot. Now, thankfully, I can also stand. But this Herman Miller chair with Logitech is absolutely incredible. I've looked at reviews of every chair online. I used to have the Secret Labs chairs, which are good, but they're a bit firm. So this is without question the best ergonomic chair when it comes to sitting for long periods of time. And as you can see from behind, it also looks pretty cool. Now, the other thing that I just wanted to mention about the desk that I absolutely love is, as you're gonna see, it's on wheels. So the entire concept of this studio was to be able to have multiple drastically different angles within one room, just by being able to simply move a couple of things. So as you're gonna see, if I came over here, I can move this desk and it is entirely run off of one simple cable. So whenever I need to change the background up, no matter what I'm doing, I'm able to just move this desk and reposition it, whereas the majority of standing desks are not on wheels. So they kind of have to either stay where they're at, or they also have to be lifted, and they're pretty heavy, especially when you have all of these things attached to it. Now, the last part of the desk, before we go on to some of the other things in terms of the lighting that I use, the camera that I'm using, and everything else, is looking at the cable management. So again, this is an Ergonoffice desk. I absolutely love it. It's super high quality and it's the right size. But one of the kind of upgrades that you can add to it is underneath, and you can have this cable management tray that has a power bar built into it. I'm able to plug all of the different cables directly into that power tray so that I don't have these big clunky cables running all over the place. So this keeps it super clean, and it's able to power all of these big things that need traditional sockets and cannot be run off the Cal Digit TS4. But overall, I absolutely love this setup. It is super modular. I'm able to move these and reposition them wherever I want, whenever I want, because when I'm on Zoom, my typical setup would actually be this desk in the middle here with the black background as my background. And then, as you're gonna see on some of my other clips, in terms of the different angles that I use, I will push this back and have it directly against the wall. So overall, the desk is super clean, really high quality. I wanted it to be kind of simple to operate and not have to do a lot of moving around in order to get this to exactly where I want it to be. The only other things are, of course, my Apple keyboard and then my Logitech mouse. So that's the majority of my desk setup. Now, the only other thing that I'm sure I'm gonna get asked about is both this mat as well as this laptop holder. So these are both from GroveMade. This is a really popular company that creates different kind of desk equipment, and a lot of YouTubers use these. So these are all from GroveMade, including my little coffee holder, and that overall is the majority of my desk setup. So now what I want to do is I want to walk you through the cameras that I'm using, the audio that I'm using, and the lighting that I'm using, not just for my Zoom and my typical workspace setup, but also my actual YouTube videos, because I do not use this mic for my YouTube videos. So let's start with the camera setup that I use. I really wanted to upgrade it, and also I wanted to have adjustable lenses, because previously I just had a fixed lens, which was fine, but I could never quite get the right angle in a smaller space like this. So I have two Sony a7S IIIs as the bodies that I'm using. One of them is going to be the one that I use for the majority of my YouTube videos, which is on a tripod so I can move it around. The other one is here on the camera monitor arm so that I can use it for my Zoom calls and my typical videos that I do on a daily basis. Now, two different lenses. I've got the one here on the 16 to 35 millimeter, and then I've got the one over there on the 24 to 70 millimeter, so that again, just based on the different setups that I have, these are the two. And one of the things that I love best about the one that I use for my YouTube videos is I got a monitor over top of it, because I find that the screens on the cameras are pretty small and it's kind of hard to see how you fit and how the lighting looks within the camera when you're sitting down and getting set up. So I got an external 7-inch monitor to add on top of it, just so I can see how the framing looks. So those are the two cameras that I use. But now let's talk about the lighting before getting to the audio. So as you're gonna see, there's a couple different lighting elements that I use here throughout. Now, my main light is the Aperture 600D. So this thing is an absolute monster. It is huge. It is probably overkill for what I use it for, but I absolutely love it. It's super controllable. You can control it through your iPhone, and just the quality of it is incredible. What I did with that, because I reposition it in different areas of my studio, is I wanted to make sure that that is easy to do, but it's a pretty heavy fixture. So I put it on wheels. And so as you can see, going with the theme of this being very modular, my 600D is on a kind of mobile tripod, if you will, that allows me to just easily walk it around the room and reposition it how I would like it to. Now, with the theme of lighting, you're gonna know a couple other things here as you're gonna be able to see. I previously used to use the Philips Hue lights. Love them, great lights, but I really wanted to take it to the next level and kind of show the quality of this studio, because I wanted to build up my dream space. So I decided to invest a little bit extra, and I got the Nanolite Pavo tubes. So I've got two 4-foot Nanolite Pavo tubes, which, as you're gonna be able to see, are kind of on either side of this setup. But then when we turn around, as you're gonna see over here, I've actually got two more of them, of the 2-foot ones, against this black background. So I've got 4 of the Nanolite Pavo tubes that, again, they can change to any color. They are extremely high quality, which I love, because some of the things that I found with some of the Philips Hue lights is it's a bunch of tiny little lights, and sometimes you can see them. And I wanted something that's just super crisp, super clean, and just gives it a really professional looking vibe overall. So those are primarily the lights that I use, and I keep it really simple. Now let's talk about the audio, because one of the things I really wanted to achieve with this setup is to have audio where the mic is not in the frame. If you look at all my past YouTube videos, you're always seeing the mic, which covers the t-shirt, and it always gets in the way of your hands, and I just didn't like that. So what I'm gonna do is take you over here and show you the mic that I use for my YouTube videos, which is the Sennheiser. So as you're gonna see here, this is the Sennheiser mic, which I will link below, but I'm able to now keep this out of frame in order to make sure that the audio is super high quality, but you don't have to see the mic in the frame. Now, coming and being consistent with the audio, one of the things with this is that you do need to plug it into some sort of interface. So to keep things, again, really tidy, when I'm recording my YouTube videos, I actually use this little desk here that I got on Amazon. So one of the things that you'll notice if you follow this red cable is that you will see underneath, I've got my Scarlett 2i2. So this allows me to plug my laptop directly into this in order to power this mic, and for this mic not to be in frame, and everything is clean because you're not going to see anything off this. My laptop is usually off the side, and now you again have yet again another super clean space in order to record with nothing in the way. I just wanted things that looked very minimal, very simple, very clean, but also super high quality. and professional. Now coming over back to the mic that I use for all of my Zoom calls and my daily work is the Shure SM7B with the Apollo Twin X Heritage Edition in order to control the audio. Now, a couple mistakes that I made along this way, and they were plentiful. I basically ordered every wrong cable humanly possible, and I spent about $500 on cables that I did not need, that they're the wrong length. So if you're looking to do a setup like this, one of my recommendations is to be mindful of the size of the desk and the length of the arms. So one of the things that I did when I was getting this set up was that I ordered 6-foot cables for everything, which I thought would be fine based on the width of the table or the desk. Well, what you realize is that when you start routing them through the different monitor arms and routing them underneath, as you're gonna see with the cable management, I needed 10-foot cables for absolutely everything. So I had to reorder all of the cables multiple times, but that was just one thing to be mindful of, is I'm the type that should measure twice, cut once, but I have a habit when I'm building up these things where I don't like to waste time, and I unfortunately impulsively make these decisions. Okay, so before showing you the different angles that I use in order to record my actual YouTube videos, as I showed with some of the different references, I just wanted to walk through some of the little design elements, because I know that one of the things people are always curious about is how do I decorate my background and make it look pretty clean? As you're gonna see, I've got 2 matching identical bookshelves from Wayfair, and the other desks that I've used and the different tables are all ordered from Wayfair. But also because of the fact that we've got 1 walnut wall, 1 black wall, and I will get to the wall panels, I wanted to add some greenery, but I am probably the worst at maintaining plants, and I kill every one that I ever own. So all of these are fake plants. So as you're gonna see here, I've got bookshelf down here. I've got all these different fake plants that I just picked up from my local fake plant store. The trees that you're gonna see, I'm gonna give you guys the links to those, because those are ones that I ordered online. I'm a big watch guy, so that's one of my passions, and I've got one of my little unique IFL watch holders here that I think is pretty cool. I do not normally keep a Rolex on here, but I do in the background of my YouTube videos or whenever I'm actually recording, just to have some sort of element of design. And on that note, one of the things that is important about this studio is this house, which is my dream house on the lake, does have a pretty insane security system in it, and also hidden throughout this room, I actually have another security camera that I monitor from my phone. So I do have some slightly expensive things in here, and I wanted to make sure that the security is on point. And then a couple other design elements, as you're going to see here. I have one of my UE or Ultimate Ears Mega Booms, which is just a speaker that I like to use if I want to have music that fills the sound, and a couple lenses from the old Sony a6600 that I used to use in my other YouTube videos. Now, coming over here, again, as you're going to see, fake plants is kind of the theme here, just to add a pop of color in the background. And in order to contrast, I got some with the white. But this, again, is another bookshelf from Wayfair, just to keep it really easy. They have great return or refund policies if you order something that's incorrect, or if it shows up damaged. They've been amazing. So I order everything from there. Now, before getting to the slat wall panels, which I know everybody's gonna ask about, I'm gonna go give you a bit of a tour over here. Now, before we do, I just wanted to talk to you about the blackout blinds, because controlling the light is incredibly important for me in this studio. Previously, one of my issues was that in my old studio setup, I couldn't control the lighting properly, so I had to record either super early in the morning or super late in the evening when I was absolutely exhausted to get the lighting. But I have these custom blackout blinds installed that are fully remote controlled, as I'll show you right here. And it actually opens out to my walkout basement with a full view of the lake. Now, because it's winter in Calgary and it looks like absolute trash outside, what I'll do is I'll get a little overlay here showing you a drone shot of what this looks like in the beautiful summer. And because this actually has a full sliding door, I'm able to keep this open with the bug screen so that during the summer I can actually have a ton of fresh air coming through into my office while I'm sitting here working all day. All right, now coming over to this side, you're gonna see again, as I alluded to before, matching shelf, exact same as the other one, both from Wayfair, which I will link in the description below. I do have all of the number of books as well, just because I do like to read. Everybody should be reading. It's the best way to scale your business and continue to grow as a person. And I've got some of my favorite books under here. Now, I am a big hat guy, as you're gonna see, so I've got some of my hats on display here from Atlas Alliance, which is the mastermind group that I run, and also Realty, which is the mastermind group that I'm in with Annie Frizella and Ed Milet. Now, one of the other things that I'm really passionate about is cars. So this is actually a pretty cool thing. When you custom spec your own car from Lamborghini, they will actually give you a model car that's an exact replica of your exact spec, and it has a plaque on the front with my name on it. So this is just a cool little touch because, again, one of the things that I get asked all the time is, Mike, I've got a passion for cars or horses or photography or golf or whatever. How do I include that in my YouTube channel? And one of the best ways to do that is just to have little design elements of it in your background so that you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to wear t-shirts about it. But just by having these little design elements in the background really kind of pulls it together. So when people are kind of watching your videos, they're gonna take note of the golf clubs or of the horse saddle or something that just shows. And for me, it's cars and watches, as you can see from the two different things. Now, we've already talked about the desk. Now let's come over here to kind of the final little angle. This plant or this tree and the tree on the opposite side, as I showed you previously, are the two trees that I ordered online. I ordered these from RD Plateau. I will link that in the description. That's where most YouTubers, if you will order the fake plants. Really good delivery, really high quality, and I absolutely love them. This is actually a chair that came with my house when I bought it, so it's a really high quality chair, some designer brand name that I'm not too sure of, but it's really comfortable. And again, I just really wanted this entire studio to actually look less studio-y, if you will. So one of the things that I didn't like about watching my own YouTube videos previously is that it really looked like a studio vibe. It wasn't very homey, it wasn't very warm, it wasn't very inviting, and I didn't like it. So I could only imagine how some people felt when they were watching it as well. So I really wanted to have a couple different angles, and I'll show you what this looks like in terms of more of that homey vibe, if you will. But the last little component is what you're gonna be able to see on the ground right here. So I spend a lot of time in this studio, and I wanted to make sure that the air is nice and clean and pure. So I got a Miele air purifier here just to make sure that, again, I'm taking care of myself, I'm breathing properly, and I also think that it looks pretty cool. So now what I want to do before showing you some of the different angles that I can record my YouTube videos in is I want to show you a couple different elements that make this space super functional. So let's come over through here, and first I want to show you the bathroom. Makes it nice and easy for recording in here. But as you're going to see, there's a full ensuite bathroom in here, and this just makes it easy to be able to continue to operate and not have to run up and down and all around the house. Now the next component you're going to see is this walk-in closet here. Every bedroom in the house has a full ensuite and a full walk-in closet. And this is just something where, as you're gonna see, I just keep the different t-shirts and sweaters and things that I'm gonna wear in my YouTube videos tucked away in here, as well as some of the different boxes for the Aperture 600D, my land lights, and anything that I need in order to keep it nice and tidy. But also, this is where I store the seat that I use when recording my YouTube videos in the different angles that I'm gonna show you. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, which everybody's gonna be asking about, is the wood slat panels before I start walking and showing you some of the different recording angles and the setups that I use for my YouTube videos, as well as some of the different unique aspects of this room. So these wall panels are incredible. I love them, I swear by them. I saw a lot of other YouTubers talking about it, and I just wanted to see for myself. These are from the Wood Veneer Hub. Again, I'll link it in the description, but I've got walnut on this side, matte black on this side, as well as on the back wall. And one of the things that I love about it is that it's acoustically treated. So if you walk outside of this room, you will hear an echo very obviously. It's very pronounced. The second you walk into this room, the sound goes completely dead. So it really allows me to have really proper sound when it comes to my YouTube videos, my Zoom calls, without having these big, ugly kind of sound panels that most people will have to mount to the wall that look at a place and you have to drill. I really wanted this to look super clean, super homey. I did have a contractor come over and install these. While they are relatively easy to install yourself, I wanted to make sure that all of the cutouts for the wall plugs were done properly and super professional. And I just didn't want to spend the time to actually do this myself. So these are from the Wood Veneer Hub. I absolutely love them. They come in sections so that you can just put them up. And I wanted to have, again, multiple different vibes and colors, which is why I got 2 different colors. So before showing you the different angles that I use for my YouTube videos, I just wanted to show you this here, which is where all of those wrong cables live that I ordered. But this is also a really clean space for me that I use in terms of all of the different camera lenses that I needed and everything else that I need, which is just this shelf in here. And this is where I keep all the different boxes and everything else from what I've ordered. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to walk you through the different setups that I use for recording my YouTube videos to get 7 different angles out of this one little setup that I have here. Now, I'm not gonna show all of them, but I am gonna show the 3 primary ones as well as the digital whiteboard that I use. So the first one is gonna be sitting here. I really have always loved the vibe of some of the people on YouTube sitting at their desk at sort of a side angle. So one of the frames that you'll see that I record some of my YouTube videos in now is sitting here. And this is really good because either A, if I'm doing screen tutorials, which I do many of, showing agents how to use social media, I'm able to have it here so I can start, and then whenever I want to record from the actual screen, I can use this camera, but then I can use my other camera for sort of this side angle. And also, if I have anything to pull up to show, I can also show it on here as well. So I love this angle. It's really comfortable, but it also gives it a little bit more of a unique feel and allows me to be more interactive in showing different things. Okay, so the next angle that I really like to record in is using this chair that I keep tucked away in the closet. And then I like to sit here against this black background. Now, typically, as I mentioned, that you'll see in the examples, is that this is usually out of frame. So you can't see this when I'm recording it. And this is what I use to plug into my laptop. Now, anybody that's been following me for quite some time knows that I don't script my YouTube videos, but what I do is I operate off of bullet points. So what I typically do when I'm recording in this setup is I will actually have my other laptop, my other MacBook Pro, not the one powering the computer or the screens, sitting over here on one of the little tables that I have over there. So I'll keep my laptop here out of frame as well. And this allows me to have the bullet points so I can look at the camera, speak, then look sideways, be able to look at the bullet points from my YouTube videos, and everything is controlled again, so you can't see the scarlet, you can't see the light, and now I've got this full empty desk space in case I need to use an iPad, show a demonstration, look at a book, or anything else to make it more interactive. But this is one that I really like for some of my online courses as well as some of my YouTube videos because it's just super clean and gives the vibe that I really enjoy. All right, so this is the last angle that I'm gonna show you that I like to record in, which is more of this casual vibe. And I strategically position some of the videos that I would create based on the element of the design that I use. So I do a lot of my storytelling here and my raw, very kind of authentic messages that I like to share in this more casual corner because it's very fitting. But one of the things that I love that you'll see is the difference in the audio. So I just wanted to show you the massive difference that it makes by having these wall slap panels that are acoustically treated, as well as this mic that are plugged into my computer here out of frame in order to show you what it would look like. So you're gonna see what it would sound like if none of this was turned on. And now you're gonna hear how incredible it sounds, even though this is quite far away from me, just based on the acoustics within this room and the wall slap panels with having such an incredible mic and everything else that I've done to this room. And so the last setup that I just wanted to show you is this with my Vibe board, which is the big kind of digital whiteboard that I typically connect to my computer. And I do various different tutorials on here, but I love to visually show things. So for people that like to show things but don't want to have to mount some big whiteboard on their wall, I love this because I can wheel it in, I can wheel it out as I can with everything else in this room. And it's just a really easy way for me to, again, to be able to draw different things that I'm talking about to make it more visually appealing for the people watching the video. But I don't have to keep it in here. So I want to keep this space clean, tidy, very minimalist. I just put this in the main area out there. And this allows me to continue to just add different styles of content all within the same space so that it's familiar, but it's also a little bit different. All right, so there you have it, a complete walkthrough of my dream YouTube studio, but the one little cliffhanger that I'm gonna leave you with is this is just phase one, because phase two is coming up next, where I'm turning the main living room on the other side of this wall into my dream podcast studio. So that's gonna be phase two. And if you would like to be along for that journey to see how I create an incredible podcast studio using some of the similar elements from here, make sure you subscribe. But again, if you have any questions about anything in my studio, how I set certain things up, how I manage the cables, or anything else, just drop a comment below and I will make sure to answer all of them, because I would love to see you build your dream studio that gets you excited to keep creating again.